Well, this is not a very good way to start a video because I'm just showing you the locked gates and notices to say that we are closed to the public, and this is what happens when we have a lockdown. But there's a lot of activity going on the nursery here. We have our supplies keep coming in of grit and akadama, and this is the beautiful site at the entrance of the nursery. Look at my red Deshojo garden trees and these huge Niwaki or Japanese white pine garden trees. But I want to show you there are some trees that I grow into large trees because, as you know, I love these large trees. I'm going to just show you a few nice little snippets. Now this is a beautiful Kotonoito, thread-like leaves on this maple. Kotonoito, in case you didn't know, translates into the harp string. So the string of the Japanese koto or Japanese harp is like this. So this maple is named after the Japanese harp. Look at the beautiful leaves. I never cease to admire these beautiful trees. Now this is a Chinese quince. Chinese quince have this beautiful bark. Look at the bark on this tree. And it was a big bonsai, but I just wanted to try as an experiment to grow them big. And it is covered in flower this year. Look at the beautiful blossom on this. All these beautiful blossoms. And then it will have these mighty large fruit. The fruit of this Chinese quince from Japan is rather hard. It's not like the pear type fruit that you get in the Mediterranean countries and Turkey. They're very nice to eat, but this is not nice to eat. The Japanese told me that they use it for medicinal purposes. So they cut slices of this fruit and they infuse it in water, and it makes a very nice drink. So that is the Chinese quince growing as a big tree. I may convert it back into a bonsai one day, but what the hell, this is a lovely tree. Now the other nice thing is this crabapple. Look at this crabapple. Absolutely massive. It's every bit 5 foot tall in a beautiful chun pot. I haven't the heart to make it a dwarf tree. It is absolutely covered with thousands of flowers. And this is the beauty of spring, beauty of nature. Everything beautiful. What a pity that we have this virus knocking around. But all is not bad. Nature has its good side and its bad side, so we've got to be philosophical about it. So as I walk around, I'm just showing you the different types of maples that we have as garden trees. This is another variety. I don't know the names of all of them. This is a green Discectomy, not the usual type. These come from Japan. They're trained in this tall S shape. And now this is a very rare tree. This is the red, I think it is like a harp string, but I'm not sure. I've got to bring out a maple book to identify it. The leaves are so fine. This was again imported from Japan years ago. When I used to go to Japan, I used to buy a lot of these strange trees. And then we have these beautiful what we call akashidare, red weeper, and the Japanese grow them in this tall shape. Usually the maples, weeping maples that are grown in Europe tend to be short trees. But sometimes I cut the top of the tree off or air layer them and make them into shorter trees so that we have a much shorter weeping tree. So these will become bonsai one day. So these trees will become bonsai. This is a Bouverensis pine in the front, and this is a Deshojo which is still coming into lovely color. So this is just to walk around my car park. Car park is empty, but the leaves are beautiful on these trees. That's a large Trident Maple that I grew in my car park when I came here in 1986. So the trunk of that tree is about 2 foot in diameter, and it's growing in the car park. And just to show you, when you grow Trident Maple as a natural tree, look at the bark on that. This is Trident Maple when it's allowed to grow naturally. More Discectoms and the flowers of the maples. Now this tree I want to show you because you don't often get a long needle pine. This is a long needle Pinus strobus, one of these European type 5 needle pines, and this was trained into an S shape from very young. It's got several S's in it, and it's already about 5'6" tall, and we're training this into a garden tree. So we do experiments with these strange looking trees. This, by the way, is an ordinary Scots pine with a triple trunk. You don't often get trees in pine, Scots pines, which have triple trunk. So this is being grown as a garden tree. And while I'm passing, I will just show you, this is the oak that is grown as a big garden tree. This, I think, is the sessile oak. It's not the English oak, but again, it's a massive tree, 6 foot high, and trunk is about 1 foot in diameter. The maple at the back, in case you're curious as to what it is, this is sangokaku or senkaki. It never turns red, it only turns yellow or orange in the autumn, and it has these beautiful red twigs. But the red twigs get very pronounced in the winter time. In the summer, the red is hardly noticeable. So this is senkaki. I thought I'd show you this tree. I need to trim it, but this is a red Discectum that I've been growing as a bonsai for years. It is badly in need of a trim, but it has this beautiful, beautiful trunk. This I've been training for about 30 years, and I just refuse to sell it because it's such an interesting tree. And this adorns the entrance to our nursery. And that, by the way, is a 15-foot high pagoda that I purchased from China in Xiamen, and it was going cheap and I bought it. So it came in a container. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, I don't know how many pieces, but it has a lot of pieces and very, very heavy. It's not often that I show the front of my house. This is Herons, our house, and I've changed the garden completely since coming here, and we're always making changes to it. What I want to show you here are 2 very interesting plants, or in fact several interesting plants. This mighty big juniper is the Hollywood juniper, Kaizuka, and it's been here 30 years and is about 30 feet tall, and the trunk is massive. So it just shows if you grow a thing for 30 years, you get a gnarled old trunk like this. It's a very challenging shape, and I don't want to change the shape in any way. I don't want to make it look like a Japanese niwaki. I have enough of those. This beautiful white bush, again, has been here 30 years. I planted it the year I came in 1986, and it is called Exocorda, the bride. The bride because it's got these beautiful white flowers. Exocorda, the bride. And that's a Japanese yew garden tree. It's growing in a pot, but it can be taken out from there at any time. Now this tree I wanted to show you because I purchased it from this village called Yamagata near Fukuoka in Kyushu, Japan in the year 1990, one of my early trips to Japan. And this grower had many of these. In fact, I have about 6 of these which I bought from this nursery. Although it was sold to me as a Deshojo. Today, by the way, is the 20th of April, so it's in third week of April, so the spring is well advanced. It's got two tones on it. You see there's a very delicate soft pink color, and then parts of the tree is much deeper red. So there are two shades of this red, but it's not an intense red like some of my other red Deshojos. But it's a very, very beautiful tree. I had a huge mountain maple, but that grew as tall as my building, so I had to take it out with a great big mechanical digger. It was only 6 foot from the house and it was affecting the foundation, so I had to take it out. This tree was only about 1 inch in diameter when I planted it, and after about 30 years, the trunk diameter is about a foot, I would say. So this is the front view of our house. I did a lot of the designing of the exterior to make it more Japanesey, and the house has been extended. So this is how I approach my landscaping. This sort of design I have in fact done for a customer in her house quite a few years ago. She saw this and wanted the same thing done, so I did it. So we get a lot of people who copy these designs. So I hope you've enjoyed this little tour of the front part of our nursery and the front part of our house. It's just to show you what is happening around the nursery, and I will show you 1 or 2 sites as well. I'll just walk to the back. The color is so lovely, I felt I should take you for a walk. Many people have asked me, can we see that chicken plucker tree? Do you remember the video I did last year where I was plucking the leaves of that maple? Now this is the same maple, look at it. The leaves are beautiful, and because of the plucking I did last year, I got more ramification. So it is looking so full and dense. And this is the famous chicken plucker tree. And next to it is a classic Japanese Deshojo maple grown in my own style. These are the red Discectums. They're about 10 foot tall Discectums. This is the Forsythia, which was in bloom about 3-4 weeks ago, so the flowers have finished. In the distance there's a very pale looking green Discectum grown as a large bonsai. And this is a great big larch, which is like a windswept leaning style. I don't think anything would be complete unless I show you the full range of the trees that we are growing. This is a Trident Maple which has stood here all winter, and it has emerged in the open from scratch, never put in the greenhouse, and look at it. This is only the 20th of April and it's in its full summer foliage. If I turn around, this is that other great big one. This one is not as advanced, but I want to show you some more maples. That's an ordinary mountain maple, but this is a Deshojo which again has emerged completely in the open. This is not in the greenhouse. If it was in the greenhouse, it would have turned green. It just shows you that if you let these emerge in the open, they have a red color for much longer. Now this is just an ordinary mountain maple, but look at that beautiful apricot color. This tree is about 4 foot high and about 5 foot across, a massive, massive maple. And this I have been growing for the last 30 years. Look at the base there. It's only in a plastic training pot because I'm growing it big. Look at the ramification. I'm still developing ramification on that tree. Although that this is a mountain maple, for some reason they don't get named, but there are so many variations of ordinary Acer palmatum. This is a mountain maple, again one of my field-grown trees. Look at the base of that tree. And this has got more of a limey green color, and this mountain maple has got like a pinky color, but they're just mountain maples. This is just a shishigashira that I'm developing into a bonsai. So I hope this gives you some appreciation of these large maples, but I've never finished. I can never resist showing off the trees. I have some trees in my green shade netting area, and the shade netting is to prevent the frost affecting the new leaves, because they get affected by frost very easily. So this is the large root over rock. You can hardly see the rock now. Mountain maple. And then this is one of our field grown garden trees, which is still in the process of being developed. And this is my very large Trident Maple that I purchased from one of the Cato brothers back in 1993. I had to persuade him to sell it. It took me 5 years to get him to agree to sell this tree to me. And finally I managed to get it in 1993. And it's in perfect health. I've grown it in a deeper pot to make the tree stronger. When it originally came from Japan, it was in a much smaller pot, and the pot was only 2 inches in depth, and the tree suffered a lot. I don't know why Japanese growers love to plant their trees in such shallow pots, but I find that in the UK, they don't survive so well in shallow pots. So this is where I have had to adapt to the local conditions. So just enjoy the sights that I have around here. So despite the lockdown, I'm enjoying my trees, and I hope you do too. This has turned out to be like a casual walk around the nursery in mid-spring. This is our Japanese yew. All the new buds appearing. Look at it. It's so beautiful when everything fresh and new starts to grow. And we're here next to this large mountain maple, just coming out into leaf, and our crab apples. What a pity there's no one to see these beautiful trees. We've got loads of these trees, hundreds and hundreds. I will just show you a few more as I walk around the nursery. So I will carry on showing you the crab apples, since I was talking about crab apples. And these are trees that are grown in Europe. They were bought as partly trained trees, and then we refined them. So some of them have got massive trunks. This one I used to show at our display at Wisley, so it's come back from Wisley. It hasn't got so many flowers this year, but crab apples, like most flowering trees, they flower well every year. So this year the flowers are extremely good. Look at it, absolutely covered in flower. And then the next year they won't have so much flower. They always take a year's rest in between. So if this year's flowers are good, next year's flowers will not be so good. So here we have all our crab apples. I reckon there are about 200 of these in different stages of training, but most of them are finished trees. So this is our crab apple. I think this is just the Halliana. I'm not sure about the species or variety. I will just show you some other crab apples that I have in my garden, and I will just take you for a casual walk. This is down our corridor of our Zen meditation center, and I will show you some more crab apples. So I'm here showing you another crab apple. This crab apple, believe it or not, was grown from seed which my son collected when he was a little boy of about 10 years old, 9 or 10 years old, in 1980 from Kew Gardens. He collected about 100 of these tiny little fruit. They were no bigger than about 1/4 inch in size, very tiny yellow fruit. and we sowed several of these. In fact, I used to sell the seedlings, and I brought this plant with me when I came here in 1986. So it's a huge tree now, covered in blossom, absolutely gorgeous tree with lovely scent. While I'm here, I'll show you, this is a huge maple that I also planted in 1986. No thicker than 1 inch in diameter, and now it has a diameter about 18 inches at the base, and the tree spreads about 30 feet easily or more either way. My white cherry, this is Taihaku, slightly green color, but as it ages it goes pink. So the cherry trees are almost finished. Let me just show you the crabapple I was talking about. We've had no rain for 2 or 3 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, so the ground is parched. And today is a cloudy day, and we are expecting some rain, I believe, later on in the afternoon. But this is the other side of the crabapple, spreading tree of about 50-foot spread and about every bit 30 foot high. One single tree, more maples in the garden, and this is a red crabapple that I also planted back in 1986. It has red leaves, copper colored leaves, and the flowers are deep pink, but it hardly produces any fruit. So we grow these flowers mainly for the bees. And while I'm here in the back garden, there is a tree that may look a bit dead to you, but I can assure you it's not dead. I want to bring you close to the tree because this is, you may recognize it, it is Cercis canadensis, and it has the purple leaf. I love the Cercis because they produce these flowers from very old wood. Look at it. Thick old branch of about 2 or 3 inches in diameter, and look at the flower buds coming from the old wood. So this is the Cercis. A related tree is the Cercis siliquastrum, which is called the Judas tree, but that has got green leaves. This one is a purple leaf form, and because it was purple leaves, that's why I planted it. I'm now going to take you for a walk to my maple grove. I did some shots of it just before the leaves were coming out, but I'll show you another shot now. In the space of a week, and with the warm temperatures, all the leaves have started emerging, and now it's like a dense jungle. I'm going to show you these trees because, like they showed you in the front of my house, there are 5 other Deshojos that I purchased from Japan, from Kyushu in Japan, and there are 5 Deshojos in here. This one in the front is also a Deshojo, but it's already turned the slightly orangey color. It was sold to me as a Deshojo, but it's quite different from the other Deshojos in the background. Look at those ones. They're completely different. And that one, I'm not sure what the variety is, but it's got beautiful lime green color. And it becomes so dense when it is fully in leaf. But I love this magical quality about the maple grove. I can't see the sky now, it is so dense. Beautiful effect. I will now take you back into the greenhouse because I want to follow up the coloring of Deshojos. Let me begin by showing you some of these Deshojos which emerged in the open. They still have this lovely red color. And now I'm going to turn around and take you into the greenhouse because I've got Deshojos back in the greenhouse which came out into leaf about maybe 4 weeks ago. And I did show some videos of them in beautiful, vivid color. But look at them now. They have started turning green. So this was a Deshojo with vibrant red color, and already it's starting to turn green. These were all Deshojos, and look at the leaves now turning green. And the parent tree from which I air most of my Deshojos, that's also turned green. So for those who are not familiar with Deshojo, they always think that the Deshojo stays red all year round, but this is not so. Deshojos are admired for their spring color, and once the color is finished, the rest of the summer it is green because the sun will produce chlorophyll and it forces itself to produce chlorophyll and therefore turns green. These are all Deshojos, and as you can see, they're gradually turning green. I will take you to another one. This batch here, they were all Deshojos, and you can see how they have already turned green. So Deshojos do not stay red all through the year. So don't be disappointed if you purchase a Deshojo and it's red for only like 4 or 5 weeks, sometimes 6 weeks, at the very most 2 months. And after that, they turn green. And talking of maples turning color, if you remember, I showed you pictures of my Benichidoris. Benichidoris came out a very soft pink. This is a Benichidori. It's got turned completely green. These were all Benichidoris, and they've all turned green. So the spring color only stays for a short while. And this is typical of a lot of these things that the Japanese love, like the cherry trees. Nothing is forever. It emphasizes the transient nature of life. We enjoy it for a moment, enjoy it, and then it's gone. There you are. And on that philosophical note, I will end this little tour of the nursery, and I hope you enjoy this very much.